Welcome to Creative Conversations. I'm Roger Humphrey. In this episode, I'm pleased to welcome the director of Sinfonia Varsovia, Janusz Marynowski. This is one of the best orchestras in Europe, and he tells its story past, present, and future in a very easy and enjoyable style. Hey, before we begin, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. It's an easy thing to do, and it really helps the channel a lot. Just think of it as supporting the arts. Thanks. And we are welcoming to the program a wonderful person, Janusz Marynowski. Did I say that right?
Yes, absolutely perfect. Great pronunciation. Thank you very much.
Well, that's the first thing I got right in a long time. So, so thank you so much for taking the time and coming on the show. A lot to talk about. You are the director of Sinfonia Varsovia?
Yes, Sinfonia Varsovia is like independent city culture institution. We belong to the city.
Of
It's
Warsaw.
quite of Warsaw, yes, city of
Yes.
Warsaw is quite a big organization right now. We have quite big orchestra, like 74 salary musicians.
Wow.
We have also almost 40 people in the administration, and probably in the nearest future we will be much bigger because we are just building the new concert hall in Warsaw,
Oh
which
my.
will be the biggest in Poland. We want to think big, you know.
So
And
how
that,
many seats? How many seats?
yes, the main concert hall, 1,877.
That's a nice sized concert hall.
Yes, smaller one, 400 seats, another two halls, really small, big education space, small art gallery, all our offices, some guest rooms. If you want to come, you're welcome.
Ooh.
And a really great space, almost 3 hectares of land, five historical buildings, which we are going to completely to rebuild, will be as new. And of
Wow.
course, the new building as well, all was created by the Austrian architect Thomas Pucher. We
Oh.
did the architecture competition in 2010, already 15 years ago. My goodness. But we have fantastic result. Really, I have to say, if you want to see some visualizations, we have a special website devoted to this project, and which is Sinfonia Varsovia Centrum.pl, and you can see how it will be in the nearest future. I'm very happy because as for this architecture competition, it came 138 projects.
Wow.
Even even the most famous lady architect, Zaha Hadid, she sent the project as well, but she got second prize. I'm sorry for that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's we are because of course, if we look to the past of the orchestra, it was only musicians, only small orchestra, much smaller than now. And we were just small part of Art Center Studio, big organization. They had the drama theater, art gallery, and the orchestra somewhere there, hidden orchestra. And in fact, we were acting like semi-private orchestra. But a few years ago, we established a new culture institution. We are absolutely independent. And what is really good, we can do what we want to do. Nobody is telling us what to do.
Okay.
But of course, I need to act in the frame of the all rules and law. This is obvious, you know?
Of course.
But I'm really proud and happy to be with this orchestra for already quite a long time because my first concert, because I used to be a musician, I
Okay.
played in my orchestra double bass,
Oh,
which is
okay.
for me the most beautiful instrument on earth. And I came to the orchestra in 1987, which is pretty long time ago. I passed the audition and I was a student of Academy of Music, but I passed the audition to the orchestra. And since that time, I'm in the orchestra. I played more than 70 years. I was just bass player in
Uh-huh.
Sinfonia, Polish Chamber Orchestra Sinfonia Varsovia. And for the last 21 years, I don't play anymore. I miss playing so much, but I can't be like a CEO of the big organization and play concerts. It's not possible.
No, it's not enough hours in the day,
Yeah. No, no, no
and
way.
not enough energy either. You have to be 20 years old to have that much energy.
Yes, I will be 60 years old this year. And I can't imagine because I still remember as a student coming to this orchestra that I could say I spent all my life in this institution.
That's
Quite
that's
unique.
that speaks well, I think, that you've been there and that you've been able to grow and help them grow. So you've been able to grow as a person, but you've helped the
I
organization
think
grow.
I think the secret is, as I was at the music school before I came to the orchestra, it was my dream to talk with one musician for 3 minutes. It was really my dream. And now I have 4 unions. I can discuss, I can talk endless. But I'm still in love with this orchestra. I'm really in love. For this last 38 years, each day I'm coming here with a joy, with a lot of energy because I love those people. They are really great.
That's wonderful. That's not even work then. That's just
Yeah, it's really privilege and honor for me to be here.
that's wonderful. Now, the group itself started off with the Polish Chamber Orchestra. Is that correct? Was that the beginning group?
It was very beginning the small group established by Jerzy Maksymiuk, fantastic young those days, very young conductor. I have to say, but of course in the good way, completely crazy guy. No, no limits, only the highest quality, highest possible quality that he could rehearse the program for half a year without any concert, only rehearsals for half a year to
Wow.
have the best quality you can imagine. And in fact, we can prove as good it was because they did a lot of CD recordings for the best companies like EMI or Sony
Wow.
and others. And I don't remember which year it was. They've got the prize for the best recording of Mozart.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
this was really fantastic. Or other really famous recording of Rossini sonatas made by Jerzy Maksymiuk, a Polish chamber orchestra.
Uh-huh.
And then, it was such a difficult time for us because then suddenly in 1984, Maksymiuk just informed us that he got the invitation from Scottish BBC Orchestra in Glasgow. And he said, I played with you everything. I need to have bigger instruments to develop my artistic way. And he said, I'm moving to Glasgow, but this orchestra, Polish Chamber Orchestra, I created this orchestra. You need to stop. You cannot play without me. And we said, no way. Orchestra is not only conductor,
Right.
but orchestra is also hold the musicians. And those days, the head of the orchestra, we had two absolutely fantastic guys. One was Waldemar Dąbrowski, who is right now the director of the National Opera House in Warsaw.
Okay.
Another guy was Mr. Franciszek Wybrańczyk, who was for many years in this orchestra on my position. And they start to think what we can do, how we can continue without Maksymiuk. Of course, they said we need to change something. We need to enlarge the orchestra. And obviously, we need to invite big name. And then it came the most famous violin player on earth, Yehudi Menuhin.
Wow.
He came in 1984 to perform 3 concerts with Polish Chamber Orchestra to Warsaw. And I was on one of these concerts. Can you imagine? I was out of everything.
Yes.
And they were so fantastic. I mean, artistically, everything was there. Yehudi asked the management to enlarge orchestra a little bit. Strings to add that, 2 oboes, 2 horns, two trumpets. I remember they played the Mozart symphonies as well in this concert, and also the violin concerto by Bach. And can you imagine? Then we thought, okay, we need to rename orchestra as well, which is we start with a new name, Sinfonia Varsovia, which is our main name. But of course, as we play as a string ensemble, a really much group, we still use our second name, Polish Chamber Orchestra.
Now, the Polish Chamber Orchestra, if I can just kind of jump in the middle here, you're on tour, or they're going to be in the United States in a couple of
Oh,
weeks.
oh, yes. I mean, in few days we go there, and what a fantastic chance to one day to be at Colorado, Beaver Creek, which is like -7, and then directly go to Florida, which is +27, of course, in Celsius. Yeah, yeah. But of course, this is not the most important. The most important is that we got the invitation from Sheldon artist, Mr. Doug Sheldon. We know him since so many years. We did already many tours with Yehudi Menuhin, with Krzysztof Penderecki. It was really great time. And now he came with invitation to play with Daniel Hope,
Oh,
great violin player.
a great violin player, yes.
And we go with him on this tour. And Daniel Hope, he is very much connected to our orchestra. His very first concert with the orchestra ever was with Sinfonia Varsovia and Yehudi Menuhin conducting.
Oh,
That
how wonderful.
we know each other since so many years. You know, I remember him like a young boy in short pants playing Four Seasons by Vivaldi. You know, it was absolutely fantastic. And now we go with our flight is on the 22nd of February, which is really in a few days. And we are so exciting. The program, if it's interesting for you, uh, Roger, will include Haydn, a violin concerto, C major, or Mozart, violin concerto number 3, or even Haydn Symphony number 49, La Passione. Really fantastic program, outstanding program. And yes, we are so happy even to show, to play for you small piece by Kilar, Wojciech Kilar, where he composed a piece which is the name Orava, and he composed this piece for our orchestra in the past,
Oh,
for Polish
wonderful.
Chamber Orchestra. And this is such a great piece. This composer was very well known to compose to compose the music for many movies. The
Okay.
famous one is Dracula. He made the very famous, really fantastic music, and we can see now a lot of ballet productions with his music as well. He is not anymore with us. He passed away several years ago, but his piece is so energetic and somehow shows a part of this folk music from Polish mountains.
Oh, okay.
Which I can see it could well correspond with our concert in Beaver Creek.
Oh, that'll be
Which
great.
is yeah, also quite high. And then we have four concerts. We played February 24th in Vero Beach, Florida. We go then we go to Dreyfus Hall in Crevis Center, Palm Beach. And then we go to Schwartz Center, Emory University, Atlanta. And then we finish in Beaver Creek,
That'll be wonderful.
which will be much colder.
It'll be much colder. Yes.
And of course, such a tour to organize, to pay all the travels is quite expensive those days, I
Yes.
have to say. And it's not possible to have such a tour without a strong financial help. And this help is provided by the Ministry of Culture and National Heritage, Republic of Poland, especially the Institute, Adam Mickiewicz Institute. And we are very happy and proud about this help because all the travels are paid from them, you know.
How wonderful.
Yeah, this is absolutely great. And I was many times with my orchestra in United States, but I think the last time with the orchestra, it was like 20 years, 20 something years
Oh,
ago.
welcome back.
And thank you very much. I just came back from New York, but
Oh,
I was with my colleagues on this big conference, ISPA conference, and we have a chance to meet our colleagues from different culture institutions, different orchestra from all over the world. This is a great chance to discuss future of music, of classical music, how to attract new audience to come for classical music is really not easy now. A
no.
lot of people have a lot of problems. Maybe they don't want to spend money on classical music, but we are very lucky, I have to say. All concerts we play in Warsaw, the really all the concerts are sold out. And that's we
That's
are happy,
that's
maybe
that's
because of the
wonderful.
program, maybe because of the artists we invite. But yeah, but it's huge challenge just in front of us as we will finish the concert hall in Warsaw. How to fulfill 1,877 seats, the small hall. So that will be really, really interesting.
So, it's finding the new audience, and I think it's always a challenge, and I think it has been for a long time. I
Wow.
saw a photograph of it's an old photograph of Andre Segovia, and it's taken from back, and he's looking at his back into the audience,
Uh-huh.
and you look across the audience, and it was all gray hair.
Yeah.
There, and I think it's a generational thing. People kind of grow into it. I had occasion to talk to a young woman yesterday, a clerk where I was doing some business, and and I live in a very small town. We're kind of remote, and when I told her that I was doing this, she said that she's had this interest in arts, but didn't know much about them, so she's going to start watching, which is nice. But beyond that, she said that her boyfriend took her to the opera in Detroit, and the Detroit Opera Company is a wonderful company, and he took her before Christmas to see a production, and he's a farmer and a hard worker and just not the type of person that would like this kind of thing, and they both fell in love, and he wants to go back. And I think I think it's part of it is that I think the caricatures of our music, the stuffy people and the and all of that kind of stuff, and I think that the music and just the beauty of this stuff gets lost in this, what I think that the mass media does, these caricatures, the cartoons that make us look uh, like rather unpleasant people. And I think that the music and the ballet, and ballet and opera, and as well as just going to an art opening and just looking at a gallery or something like that. Uh, Gosh, it just seems to me that if people were to experience it, then they would understand it better. Just experience it one time, just that one time.
Yes, and I think it's very important, like sentence experience, how to
Yeah,
create the good experience to the people, which not only starts that you sit on the chair in the big concert hall, you listen music. We need to provide something else just before the concert, or beautiful garden of really good coffee or tea. That we are still thinking about how to organize. In our place, we will have big restaurant, big coffee place, big education space, because somehow to prepare future audience, we need to start with them very young. We have
correct.
a program for newborn babies. Can you imagine, for 3 months old babies?
Oh wow.
Of course, they are not coming alone. They are with their parents because they cannot walk. And what is from my experience, I could see this. If the parents are coming with the kids, with the newborn babies, of course they are shouting, they are crying. But in the second we start to play music, it's silence. It's amazing how music has such a power and can influence these young human beings. And that's why we have such activities for newborn babies. We have activities for primary schools, but we have a program which is dedicated for non-music private schools.
Ah,
Give the chance for those young people who will probably never go to the Philharmonic Hall just by themselves.
sure.
And we see well, we organize kind of music labyrinthus, six different rooms. In one room, we just put 60 instruments and one musician. And we allow those kids to grab each instrument to see how it's built, if it's heavy, if it's light, what kind of sound it makes. And it's so interesting for them. In
Yeah.
another room, we have kind of small recording studio. And we allow them to record a short song or a piece of poetry. And we show them what you can do with recorded sound. In another room, we ask them to paint very simple painting. If they could hear the music, which is very slow, it will look different, and so on, so on. And the kids are so interesting because they are active during all this music labyrinthus. We don't ask them to sit and we don't provide the information. Johann Sebastian Bach was born on this day and he is dead for the last 300 years. And this kind of activity, we try, first of all, to create a space where everybody feels safe. And the space we can create the community around the beauty. It's not only beauty of the music, but it could be beauty about the fantastic architecture we will have here, on beautiful trees. You can even come to us, read your book in the garden, and you don't need to go to the concert first time, but the second time we will catch you. We'll do everything, We'll have you in our concert.
That's
Yeah, and we're still about thinking about the new formats. And for example, last year we tried a format which was a huge success. And why? Three parts of the concert, and we put the audience into the orchestra, inside the orchestra.
oh wow.
And some of them they could sit just in front trombone section or trumpet section or just in front of the double basses. And as you may imagine, I experienced this for many years myself.
Sure.
You hear completely different and you have completely different emotions. And those people were amazed. And they ask, when will be the next such a concert? We want to continue.
How
And it
wonderful.
was really great. And also such I would say, education part for our musicians. Not everybody were very happy at the beginning because they could not understand why I'm a big artist and somebody is sitting next to me and, I will have no enough space to move my ball, something like that. But then everybody after the concert really happy and we could see what is the impact of music. And it's not only impact you imagine the sound on you have the sound, but also what is the impact on your body.
Yes.
Because sitting in front of the big percussion instrument, it makes the vibration of your body.
When
Yeah.
I was when I was a young boy, I sang in choir all
Oh,
through school, and so that was kind of my classical music education was singing. And I remember the first day, and I was about 13, maybe 14 years old, something like that. And standing in the tenor section, I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm just looking at the music, and it just looked like ink droppings on the paper, And the choir started singing, and I had joined the choir late, so they kind of knew the music, and I didn't. But they were doing some sort of a De Profundis, and I think it was Palestrina, but I'm not sure. And I heard that whole choir hit, and I just stood there and almost wept. The beauty and I thought, I'm home. This is where I want to be
yeah,
for the rest of my life.
yeah.
And it was just, I had never thought of it, and I'd never experienced music from the inside out. You know, and it was just for me. And I wish that experience for everybody at one time in their life, you know.
Oh, yes.
So it's wonderful. Now the Sinfonia also has alongside the Polish Chamber Orchestra, you have a string quartet and a brass group and a woodwind
Oh,
group.
yes. Yes, we have a string quartet, string quintet. We have a brass ensemble, which is a real brass ensemble, a bit like American style, I would say.
Okay,
And they play this kind of music, of course, small pieces by really classical music, but also this famous pieces really for brass ensemble. We have also the wind quintet,
okay.
and we have the harp trio.
Oh my!
Yeah,
Now,
and because
what are the instruments in the harp trio? Is that set
in
up like a
harp,
piano trio?
no, in harp trio there is a harp, there is a flute player, and violin player.
Oh,
Yeah.
uh,
It's interesting because the sound from each instrument is completely different.
I
And
played. I'm a guitar guy. I don't know
oh,
if you can see it over there,
yeah.
and I play classical guitar. And I played in a trio with flute and clarinet one time.
Ah, yeah.
And again, a very unusual sound, but it worked very well. It was really pretty.
Yeah, yes, we have few ensembles, and I have to say we have such a great musicians that with our leaders and concertmeister, we could easily ask them to play the solo pieces with the orchestra, and we did many times to play together like Beethoven violin concerto or Szymanowski violin concerto. Well, they are really great artists, and we are doing everything to have only best artists in Poland. That's why we created a very special system to audition musicians. There are like three steps. The
Okay.
first, you stand behind the curtain. No one knows who is playing. And we don't know if it's a lady, if it's a boy, to be completely out of these problems, all the problems.
It's all about the sound.
All only about the sound. And then we ask them to play some solo pieces they know in advance, if it's the third movement from the Mozart violin concerto or the solo Bach suite for the cello, for example. And then, if they are good enough, and all the jury and all of the members of the orchestra, they have the right to come, to listen, and to vote.
Oh, wow.
And then we give points, and then we of course calculate. And then, if somebody is lucky to pass to the second stage of this audition, then we ask them to play the small pieces from the orchestra music. That's few bars from Mozart symphony, from Beethoven symphony, and it's quite difficult for them somehow, because we are not educated, at least in Poland, to know exactly how to play in the orchestra. We are educated to be big soloists, big stars.
Ah, yeah, that's a
But
problem here. Yes.
maybe percentage of 1% those guys after Academy of Music, they will be in the music business. And yeah, and if somebody stays, they mostly are going to the orchestras. And we see that problem. And that's why in 2010, we created a special program for young students. And this is the Sinfonia Varsovia Academy. We do auditions in all our country once a year, and we choose around 15 people, which are in most situations just the last year of Academy of Music or just finished. And we invite them for 1 year activity with us, which means we prepare them how to prepare to the audition to the orchestra.
Okay.
We try to tell them how to write properly a CV if you apply with your documents to the different orchestras. How to play. We show them how important it is to be somehow socially to have this social responsibility. Is not only to be big artists on stage and to play and to receive money. You have to give something more to your community.
Right.
This all and it's really, I have to say, it works very well. We are very satisfied. We have now a huge group of great musicians. If we need to play Mahler Symphony, which required 120 musicians, then we know where to find them. And about our audition to the orchestra, then if somebody is extremely lucky to pass the second stage, then we invite young musicians to be 1 year trial contract, 1 year. And if everything is fine, then we open the contract. And then if somebody wants and he will be active and he will be still great musician, they can stay all their life.
Wow. Well,
But we have really we put a lot of attention to the quality, and that's really
it's
important.
a very difficult um, audition process. I'm impressed,
Yes,
but
yes,
that's why your orchestra is so good, also.
yes, yes. And I was even thinking, what is the special about this orchestra? And I think because now, of course, orchestra is bigger than as I came to the orchestra, and we will be bigger because we plan in 4 years to be 100 people orchestra.
Wow.
And but what is still very, very unique, they play like a string quartet. This is a really making music together, not only because of the conductor, but because they feel still like a small
Wow.
group, like this Polish chamber orchestra. And this is really unique. And I'm very proud of this. And
So now
maybe
you don't have a regular conductor, do you?
we don't have the regular conductor. We had such a fantastic artistic directors like Yehudi Menuhin for 15 years. And can you imagine? He
Wow.
passed away of the middle of concert tour with us.
Wow.
It was very I would say tragic
Tragic.
situation. I was still playing in the orchestra at that time, but I was orchestra speaker. And it was my job to be with Yehudi Menuhin, to transfer him to the hotel, and so. And as he felt very, very bad in Berlin, just 2 days before the concert in Berlin, they took him to the hospital. We knew already there's something serious, and the orchestra was sent home. And after 4 days, we got the information, Maestro Menuhin, he's not anymore with us. He's not
Wow.
alive. And then 2 days after his death, it came the letter from him, from the hospital to the orchestra. He wrote 1 day before his death, he wrote the letter to the orchestra. It was like a message from the second side, I mean, from
Holy
other
mackerel.
side.
Wow.
It was something really moving. This was Yehudi Menuhin for 15 years. We had also music and artistic director, the most famous composer, Krzysztof Penderecki.
Wow.
He was our artistic director for many years. And we had already 5 years collaboration with Mark Minkowski, French conductor with Polish roots, and also famous because of the quality and famous because of his craziness, Nigel Kennedy. Also five
That
years,
must have been an exciting time.
I have to say, was my last years playing in the orchestra, and he insists having me in the small group playing with him. On stage, he was absolutely fantastic. But sometimes he was the guy who loves to make a lot of jokes, not
Uh-huh.
only the audience, but the musicians as well. For example, we knew we played Bach A minor concerto, and then suddenly he starts this concerto, but twice faster. Or twice more. Of course, without an artistic reason. It was only the reason was to keep the attention of all the musicians. And can you imagine? We got so many times almost heart attack on stage, but it was very interesting.
That's very funny. I,
And
I,
with such a different artist being with us, I think we are now orchestra which is uniquely flexible, which means we can really play with completely different artists. And if we see the artist who is interesting, who has really good ideas, and who really wants to play with the orchestra, which means not I'm not the biggest star as a conductor, somewhere there, no. And then the orchestra musicians, they can go very far with such artists. I mean, they can really work hard and they could really follow the artist.
Right.
And this is something very unique because I know many orchestras, even some of them very famous, if you ask them to change the bow, I mean the bowings in the symphony, they said, no, no, we are playing this bowing since 45 years. Why we need to change the bowing? We will change the bowings, I promise. And having all of this in mind, we are so lucky and so happy to play with Daniel Hope because he is such a sincere person. He is such a nice person, such a serious person, such a serious artist. And he knows how to communicate with the people. And he knows how to work with us. He is all the time creating the area of friendship, of being together, of making music together.
Oh, wonderful.
And this is, I think, for me, one of the most important things as we want to be with our audience together.
Yes.
We are happy to be with our leader, with Daniel Hope, together. And I
That's
think the joy which comes from the stage during the concert, this is very nice, I have to say.
Well, I wish you good fortune. I hope you have a wonderful tour, and I hope your concerts are better than you were hoping for. Believe it or not, sir, we are totally out of time. And I could talk to you for another hour or two or three or four. I have enjoyed this so much, and I thank you so much for taking the time. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Roger. All the best for you, and I hope to see you somewhere one day.
That would be wonderful. I hope so too. So, but between now and then, I'm just going to say goodbye and thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
I want to thank Janusz Marynowski for taking the time to come on the show. If you would like to know more about Sinfonia Varsovia, there is a link in the description below. If you would like to keep current with my guests, please go to www.rogerhumphrey.com and subscribe. I post a new blog weekly just for that reason, and I promise you, no spam. Thanks again for taking the time to listen, and I hope you'll come back real soon to listen to even more episodes of Creative Conversations with Roger Humphrey.